Okay, so your phone rings. It's a number you have never seen before, but a name pops up anyway. How on earth does it know? Is it your phone company? Some kind of giant global directory? Let's unravel the surprisingly tricky world of caller ID.
Yeah, this is the big question we're tackling today. I know you've experienced this. A call from a contractor, a delivery, maybe a new client, and boom, their name or their business just appears on your screen. It feels like magic, but it's not a glitch. It's actually a fascinating system, or more accurately, systems, working behind the scenes.
So, to get to the bottom of it, here's our game plan. We'll start with what caller ID even is, then look at how businesses broadcast their names. After that, we'll flip it around and see how your phone figures out who's calling you. We'll also dig into why it sometimes fails, and best of all, how you can take back a little bit of control.
All right, first up, what exactly is caller ID? You know, the biggest misconception is that there's just one giant official database for everyone. But the reality, it's really a tale of two very different systems running at the same time. And this slide really breaks it down perfectly. On one hand, you've got the official system. This is all about businesses registering and pushing their name out there, kind of a top-down approach. But on the other hand, you have the crowdsourced system, where your smartphone basically becomes a detective, using data from millions of other users, a total bottom-up approach. Let's dig into that official side first. So, how do businesses, the ones that actually want you to pick up, make sure their name shows up right? This is where we get into that official, more structured side of caller ID. The key term to know here is CNAM, which stands for Caller ID Name. This is basically the backbone of that whole official system. A legit business submits the name they want to use to these big national databases. So when they call you, your phone carrier does a quick dip into those databases, finds the name tied to that number, and flashes it on your screen. Now, the process itself is pretty straightforward. But, and this is a big but, it is not instant. A business picks a name, links it to their phone numbers, and then sends it off for approval. Once it gets the green light, it still takes a few more days for that info to propagate or spread out to all the different carrier networks. So the key thing here is, it's not a real-time update. Not even close. But this official system has some really strict rules. The biggest one, get this, the name can only be 15 characters long. That is ridiculously short. It also has to actually relate to the business name, and this is interesting, it doesn't work for toll-free or Canadian numbers. That's a big reason why they so often just show up as a string of digits. Okay, so that's how businesses push their names out. But what about the other side of the coin? How does your phone identify a number that isn't in an official CNAM database? Like a call from a freelance photographer or your friend's new cell number. Well, this is where the crowdsourced detectives take over. And the scale of this is, well, it's just massive. Apps like Truecaller have built a global community of over 450 million people. Every single one of those users is helping to build a more accurate, up-to-the-minute phone directory than any official database could ever hope to be. So how does this actually work? It's pretty clever. When you install an app like Viber or Truecaller, you're usually asked to grant it access to your contacts, and that's the secret sauce. The app then pools all this data anonymously. It looks at a phone number and sees what the most common saved name is across millions of people. So if 20 people have a number saved as David and only 5 have it as Dave, well, the app is going to identify that caller as David. This collective intelligence is also what makes these apps so darn good at spotting spam in real time. And this quote from Truecaller really just hits the nail on the head. While that official CNAM system takes days to update, this community-powered system can flag a brand new scam number in minutes. It's fast, it's dynamic, and it's literally powered by all of us protecting each other. But let's be real, caller ID is not perfect. We have all seen those super frustrating unknown or private messages pop up. So why does the system break down sometimes? Here's a quick guide to what those messages are actually telling you. Unknown usually means there's a technical problem. The call's coming from a network that just doesn't support caller ID. Private, on the other hand, is totally intentional. The person calling has actively chosen to hide their number. And my personal favorite, no data sent, often just means you answered the phone too fast, before the caller ID info even had a chance to arrive. And then there's the more sinister reason for failure, spoofing. This is when scammers deliberately fake the information that shows up on your caller ID to trick you. They can make it look like the call is coming from your bank or from a local number, all just to get you to pick up the phone. With all these different systems and glitches and scams, it can really feel like you have zero control. But you actually have some pretty good tools at your disposal. So let's talk about how you can take back control and manage your own caller ID. The fastest, easiest way to make a private call is the old school star code. You just dial #67 right before the number you're calling, and your info will show up as private or blocked on their end. It's just for that one call. So simple and so effective.
Now, for a more permanent fix for all those unwanted calls, both iPhone and Android have these amazing built-in features. You can just go into your settings and tell your phone to automatically silence all calls from numbers that aren't saved in your contacts. They won't even ring, they'll go straight to voicemail, so you can deal with them whenever you want.
So really, the crucial thing is to know what you can control and what you can't. If you run a business, you're in charge of making sure the info you submit to the official databases is accurate. But you can't force the phone companies to update their systems or even guarantee that they'll display your ID. It's kind of like a partnership where you only control your half of the deal. And that brings us to our final thought. Caller ID is this fascinating tug of war, isn't it? It's between our desire for identification and our right to privacy. It's the balance between a business wanting to be recognized and an individual just wanting to be left alone. And as all this tech keeps evolving, the question remains, what does phone privacy really mean to you? Thanks for tuning in.